Hello, folks. Welcome to Pro Trader Strategies. My name's Eric Wilkinson, and this is Spotting the Trade. It's Friday, October the 1st. It's not an unenjoyment Friday. Why? Because, well, for one, we got great economic data. Two, unenjoyment Friday got moved to next week. Usually when this is one of those rare occasions where the very first day of the month is a Friday. Well, they don't have enough time to tabulate all the information to give us the unemployment data. So that gets moved to next week. But so there is a lot of good stuff going on here today. I don't know if you've noticed, but the markets have had a real turnaround because Merck has come out with a pill and that they were in a trial. Basically, they stopped the trial because the efficacy of this pill is so great. They felt that it was a moral issue not giving the placebo group this pill. So they stopped. Everybody's getting this pill. They're looking to rush this out as an emergency thing. Basically, it's a pill that you can take within the first 5 days. I don't know everything about this. I'm not a doctor, but apparently if you can take this within the first 5 days, it reduces death and hospitalization by 50% or something. So Merck blasting to the upside. Everybody else in that space is kind of getting slapped right now. We'll talk about that and opportunities we can take advantage of. So let's go over it and check out Merck right now. Let's go there. So we can see Merck popping to the upside. So I wanted to pop in here real quick and talk about this trade that I'm looking at. Yeah, it's getting a little bit of a pullback here after the initial news on the open. But at the end of the day, they've got this pill. They're going to do very well with it. They're the only ones that has come anywhere close to announcing anything with a pill. So I went into the October 14 days to expiration with this volatility spike. People are getting FOMO, fear of missing out, and going out there and buying calls like it's ridiculous. I think that's a little overdone there. So I want to take advantage of that high implied volatility from folks going in there and selling the October 78 puts in there for 50 cents, 51 cents actually. So the 78 strike is just above this point of control. We can see there's a nice big volume node in there. That's where the market has perceived value, right? For Merck. That's before this news. So if I can get long Merck at a level where everybody else did before this happened in the next 2 weeks, give it to me. So anyway, I'm selling those October 78 puts, collected a credit of 58 cents, puts me right there at that point of control. I'm happy to get long there, and I will be more than happy to just take the credit and let it run. So that's one trade that I put on. Another one that I want to talk about here is AMGN. I took this one off because the broader space here is getting kind of smacked like I talked about. So I took this trade off before the bounce really happened. And so you can probably get out even better if you were involved in this trade. But I had on the October, I was short the 200 puts in there for $1.36. I was able to get out this morning for $1.04. I think it's actually better than that. I think it's, if I just look over at my, it's trading around 91, it looks like right now. So maybe even stay in it. I just pulled the ripcord on it. As soon as it broke below that, I just didn't even want to talk about it anymore. The other thing going on right now is GM and Ward vehicle sales. We're getting those data points released right now. If you've heard anything about what's going on with GM, they are talking about the supply chain issues. Down 36% sales year over year comps. Another thing that they mentioned was that the cost of a vehicle, the average transaction cost of a vehicle, up $8,000 to $47,000 on the average vehicle purchase there. Now, that is a marketable increase. Part of that has to do with, folks, you're not going to get a truck on MSRP right now. You are probably paying over that, and the truck probably isn't going to even be delivered in the foreseeable future. I mean, maybe a couple, 2-3 weeks, you don't probably even really know guaranteed. So on the flip side of that, well, on the used car market, if you are looking at, say, a Ford, a GM, any of these heavy duty pickup trucks, 1-2 years old, say 2019, 2020 with 10,000 miles on it, it's going for what a new vehicle MSRP is. All right. The manufacturer's suggested retail price. Now, if you've ever paid that retail price, then you aren't doing your job haggling very well. So right now, you can't haggle. That's what I'm saying. The prices are skyrocketing for vehicle costs across the board, and that's apparent in this year-over-year thing. So, one thing throughout this video, guys, throw over there in the comments section. If you're hearing stuff on these vehicle sales, let me know. Maybe we'll find a trade to throw on. Another thing is, making sure you smash that like button. It feeds these little robots that runs out and finds somebody like you for me. All right. And subscribe. Right down there is a little bell. I'm going to be starting to interview folks. So also comment over there on the side. If you want me to interview a particular person, it's got to be somebody within reason, I suppose. It's not going to be Buffett, I don't think. But if you have somebody that likes to analyze markets through charts, throw it over there. Maybe I'll try and get it, or I will try and get them on. Even if it's Buffett, I'll probably, if somebody throws Buffett over there, I'll try and reach out to him. Anyway, we'll talk charts and stuff like that. Buffett doesn't trade by charts. Anyway, so GM struggling a little bit here with that. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Facebook. Some headwinds just getting slapped around by the rule makers, I guess, in the government. They're talking about this whole Snapchat for teens or whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they put that on that side docket there for a while. That's not going to blow through. A couple of things, though, I wanted to talk about with the economic data. One of the things that's making the markets really move to the upside, travel and leisure. Why? Because of this Merck news, right? Travel and leisure is doing very well. I think that there's a lot of opportunities in that space. Industry like Procter and Gamble and stuff like that, I think you guys want to run away from that possibly. Anyway, that's just me. Another good things that we're seeing here in the economic data, personal income, it stayed about the same. Personal spending's up a little bit, which means that the consumer is confident, especially if they're not seeing the income go up. Another thing we saw today was core PCE, personal consumption expenditures, folks. We've been talking about waiting for this number, watching to see if this inflation gets passed all the way down to the consumer, you and I, because that means that it's probably not so transitory. We even heard Powell talking about that this week, that it's not looking as transitory as he was hoping. But when you strip out the food and energy, because those are more volatile, think about if you are buying food in a drought, corn is going to be very expensive, right? You're not going to get corn, a dozen for $1 or anything close to that. But so you're going to see those prices really fluctuate quite a bit depending on what the weather's doing for corn and stuff like that on the floor when we were trading. If it was raining outside, we were like, you have to sell grains because the traders think it's raining everywhere. So if it was raining on the streets of LaSalle, you sold grains. Just a funny quip about that. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Something else with the core stripping out energy. We can imagine that when we see crude oil prices fluctuating as much as they do at any given time, that we would see the, I'm trying to find my crude oil chart. There it is. That with this much volatility going from 30 to 70 or almost 80 within a year, that type of fluctuation next year, this time, it might be 30 again. So that gets stripped out because of that volatility nature of that, and really skews what's really being passed on to the consumer. Okay. Makes sense? All right. Couple of other things we saw there. Construction spending unchanged, but I think we're going to see that get revised because while at least here in Arizona, construction spending is going through the roof. ISM, Manufacturing Institute for Supply Management, anything above 50, 61.1 is what we got. Anything above 50 is expansion. And the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment. Consumer obviously is confident because we saw that go up in the spending, but they are University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment came in at 72 above the 71. So not really a huge surprise there. So like we're looking at crude here, it's really kind of unchanged. I think it's just taken a sideline to the overall rest of the market as we're seeing like gold make a little bit of a move to the upside. Bitcoin blasting to the upside. Sorry, I didn't have my charts all set up for you guys today. Bitcoin making that blast to the upside. You can see up almost 10% today, just making that move right back to the point of control. We'll probably see it settle down here right around this 47,000. I don't know if we're going to see 65,000 anytime soon, but I do think that some of this inflationary aspect is popping into Bitcoin, and folks are getting behind that for sure. Couple of other things to note with the E-mini S&Ps. Coming down through that neckline again, piercing it. Folks, it's with the news that we're getting, this whole chart pattern setup, I don't think we're going to get that measured move back down to this point of control with this MRK news. I think we're actually going to say risk is to the upside in broader form, especially like travel and leisure and stuff like that. I think that's going to bring up this market across the board there. Dow Jones Industrial Average making a nice little bottoming pattern here. I would expect us to see this market start to move to the upside. Blue chips are going to start really becoming popular here too as well if we can start opening up. And again, NASDAQ's going to be the wild card here, folks. It's had that move to the upside, and technology might start lagging a little bit here with a reopen feel. This pill, I'm telling you, I think is going to give that reopen feel. You're probably going to hear a lot less about folks getting fired for not taking the vaccine because of this. So I think that is going to be a bit of a headwind for the technology stocks here, but that's me. I'm not really going to jump in this. I'm going to wait for confirmation of any of that. You guys know right now I have on things like Intel, where I have on, excuse me, in Intel for this trade, I have on the what? Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry. If you guys remember on this one, I have on this straddle in here. It's the October 55 straddle. So we did this based it on it sticking around this point of control a little bit and getting some volatility coming out. Well, that's why we're selling premium, right? Is because we want that volatility to come out. It's October, so I only have 14 days. This theta is really going to start picking up on this trade. So I'm hopeful about that, but the volatility is just staying elevated with all this stuff that's going on in the world, which is a bit surprising here. And it's got earnings right around the corner that's going to help keep that volatility elevated. So I'm banking on this premium eroding to the theta there. So I don't have a working order in this though at all. Just talking about this entire space, it's going to be pretty boring for a little while here. And that's about it. Without anybody throwing anything over there in the comments section, please do. If you guys want me to interview somebody, if you have any questions, comments, or anything else, I will circle back around if you guys are going to throw something in there. And before you go, make sure you smash that like button for me. It feeds a bot. If anything was helpful today, then in your trading regimen, then maybe you should share that with somebody by smashing that like button. It's that easy. And subscribe down there, right there at the subscribe button. There's a little bell, folks. I'm going to be doing interviews with folks, and it's really going to be dependent on their time schedule. All right. So I might have something scheduled on a Tuesday versus a Thursday the next week. So I'm not really sure how that's all going to play out. We're shooting from the hip here right now, and you guys can help us out with that. What time should we be doing these videos or these interviews? All right. What suits everybody? Comment over there at the side, and we'll figure it all out together. All right. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe as well. All right. That's it. That's all I got for you. Other than if you can't take that, take it easy.